Ted Cruz dishes out a old-fashioned Texas butt kicking. And this person definitely deserves it. Check it out.
My Democrat colleagues would tell the White House these nominees are unacceptable. This first nominee, Charnel Beckelgren, is so amazingly unqualified. She may well have the title for the least qualified nominee I've seen in 11 years serving on this committee. When Senator Kennedy asked her what Article 5 of the Constitution was, she had no idea. When Senator Kennedy asked her what Article 2 of the Constitution was, she said, I don't know. Mind you, Article 2 is the provision of the Constitution that creates the president and the executive branch of the government. Any first-year law student that didn't know what Article 2 of the Constitution was would flunk con law. This is not some obscure question about some Latin phrase no one should know. This is literally the basic architecture of our Constitution. By the way, Joe Biden has nominated her to be an Article 3 judge. Article 3 is right after Article 2. It creates the federal judiciary. I assume she doesn't know what that is either. I would note that the chairman, in defending her, suggested, well, gosh, there may be some members of our committee that don't know what Article 2 is. I feel confident that's not true, but if there is on either side of the aisle, you should stand up and resign the committee right now. To give you a sense of how unqualified this nominee is, she listed in her judiciary questionnaire her top 10 litigated cases. And I just want you to pause and read this for a second. Her top 10, she did a driver's license revocation. She did a second driver's license revocation. She did an unemployment benefits appeal. She did another unemployment benefits case. She did another unemployment benefit case. And her sixth case was an unemployment benefits case where on the opposing side was a pro se litigant. In other words, this poor fella didn't have a lawyer. And you know what? The pro se litigant beat her. She lost to a pro se litigant. What's her seventh most consequential case? I'm sorry, there isn't one. There's not an eighth, there's not a ninth, there's not a 10th. She's argued over a couple of driver's licenses, and the Biden White House says you should be a federal judge, an Article 3 judge, not that you have any idea what in the hell that is. In this administration, if you are a left-wing radical, it doesn't matter if you're competent. In Washington state, is there not a single competent lawyer who is competent to be a judge? And by the way, for all the Democrats, since Joe Biden has become president, every one of you has rubber-stamped every single nominee. Is there not a one of you that is willing to say enough is enough? When Donald Trump was president on the Republican side, we confirmed some fantastic judges, but there were several we sent back that we said, no, you missed it on this one. There's not even one Democrat willing to say enough is enough.
You know, Ted Cruz as a lawyer, he has every right to be so mad at the ridiculous nominations that the Democrats are putting forward, Biden is putting forward here. And he's right, like for these nominees to not even know the answers to basic law questions. I mean, don't you agree? Like that is just completely ridiculous. That's like saying, okay, we're a hospital and we're going to hire some surgeons and we're going to nominate some surgeons that are a little weak on this end and that end, but you know, so what? They look like they would support, you know, the direction of the hospital, right? I mean, that's almost like what's happening here with the nominees that Biden and the Democrats are allowing to go through or even be considered. I think that's just, it's so ridiculous. And he is, I love how he's showing facts so that when he addresses the Democrats and says, you know, as Republicans under Donald Trump, when Donald Trump was putting through nominees, we passed and put through a lot of great judges, but we said no. We think you're missing the boat on this one, and they said no to. And Ted Cruz is saying that he can't believe that no Democrats are even putting a stop to this. Right? They're just pushing through nominees who are just going to support their agendas versus being the best person, knowledgeable and skillful for the job, which is ridiculous.